Guys, we are going to talk about a couple of things. Number one, Khamzat saying that he is willing to train with Conor McGregor. Now, in the recent crazy turn of events about that, back in 2018, Khamzat, who was barely in the UFC at the time, he decided, you know what, I'm going to go fly over to Ireland. And what am I going to do with that? Well, I'm going to go fly over to Ireland and I'm going to go train with Conor McGregor only to beat the living heck out of him because of all the things that he said about Muslims leading up to the Khabib fight. Now, all of a sudden, it is 2025. Conor McGregor has lost. Conor McGregor has won against Donald Cerrone. And Conor McGregor has lost twice to Dustin Poirier, which, by the way, in hindsight, if you think about it, not the worst record in the world. He's already beaten Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier has beaten him twice. One of them you could sort of throw as a fluke in there, right? At least in the mind of Conor McGregor. Round two, Marty Miller says, shout out to you, my man. Of course, man, you know, just trying to grind as much as I can with this. That's why, you know, I was like thinking to myself today, earlier when I did the first live stream of today, I said, all right, what are we going to do? Are we going to go work out or do a live stream? Because I haven't done a live stream Sunday, but I did do one Saturday, obviously, for the fight. But I was like, you know what? Let's combine both. Get a workout in and then go talk about the stuff that you need to do. So what are you talking about, McTapper, LOL, Pico or Murphy? You know what? I'm going to go with Murphy on this one. I think that Murphy, yes, he's undefeated, and Pico seems to be the prodigy child of MMA, right? But Murphy is at a UFC level right now. I'm going to have to go with Murphy on that one. There's a reason why he's undefeated. Aaron Pico is great. I would say maybe a little bit overrated, but on any regard, I think that there's a good chance that that he gets this one. So why are you talking about McTapper? Because Khamzat said that he is willing to train with Conor McGregor for his comeback. That is precisely the reason why. That is the only reason why I'm talking about it. Otherwise, if you know, if let's say, what do you call it? If Khamzat never mentioned him, I don't think I would have ever really mentioned it in the first place. Okay, coming to think of it, yeah, I would not have mentioned it in the first place if, yeah, I would not have mentioned it at all. But because Khamzat is in his fight week, and because of the fact that Conor McGregor is headline news for whatever it's worth, of course I'm going to talk about him. The other crazy matchup we're going to talk about, crazy matchups, crazy teammate situations, all adding to this effect. It's going to be Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. Is that really what's going to happen? Drizzy Goat says, he is trash, bro. Hadn't won a fight in how long? Okay, so you're talking about McGregor. I'm going to pin your comment, Drizzy. I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit, okay? Okay, let's get to the car first, okay? Let's go for a drive real quick. Okay. So my man here has a very important comment regarding Conor McGregor, right? He says that Conor McGregor hasn't won a fight in how long? So hyped for Khamzat. Oh, I'll bet you are, Big Ink. I'm very hyped for Khamzat as well. Okay, so the reason why I marked out Drizzy Goat's comment. Okay, so check this out, Drizzy Goat. The reason why I marked out your comment is because you said that he hasn't won a fight in how long, right? I mentioned earlier in the stream, all this beef with Khamzat stems back from 2018 when he was going to fight Khabib, right? So coming back to MMA, after the Floyd Mayweather loss, it was Khabib that Conor lost to. Listen, not the worst loss in the world. Imagine telling the world that you lost to Khabib and Floyd Mayweather, okay? That's a very big accomplishment. All right, here's another thing. Imagine if you are Conor McGregor and you won after the Khabib fight, which was Donald Cerrone. Not a bad win. Looking back at hindsight of how great Donald Cerrone was, look at that combination he threw against Rick Story, right? That jab to the body, that cross to the face, and then that upper head kick to follow up. I mean, listen, the list goes on with the accolades and the prowess of Donald Cerrone, to which Conor McGregor has defeated. Now, after that defeat, after Conor defeated Cerrone, he goes on to fight a guy that he's already beaten. He should have never fought Dustin Poirier, okay, but he did anyway. He fought him twice. Does it really matter? He has a win over him. Now, I know that it's 2 losses in a row, but it's 2 big losses that, I mean, really from a legend. Big Ank says Dustin is a legend. Correct. Drizzy Goat says he lost to Dustin twice after Dustin KO'd him. True. True. Still not the worst, right? Considering who Dustin is and considering how he retired, he didn't look too bad against Max. And a lot of people picked Dustin to win that fight. So I love this Paramount deal, $12 for all cards. Is that really what it is? Are you paying $12 right now for Paramount, Big Ink MMA? Cerrone was an effing bum. He threw that fight as well for the bag. Speaking of throwing fights, Jake Paul is currently trying to sue people for saying that the fight is fake. Now look, there's this one dude online, right? Because you guys know I'm friends with Eric Trilogy, right? The nutritionist of Jake Paul. So when Eric got online, he got harassed by some dude, right? And so he's not really known. I mean, he had amateur fights, but he's basically a nobody, doesn't really have any public background of any sort, right? So now he's challenging him to a fight. I'll keep you guys updated on that if and when that actually happens. But yeah, speaking of Jake Paul, he's going to go fight Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, I don't agree with this fight, but I get it. It's money, okay? It's like money for both guys, and it's one of those fights where, like, all right, you know what? If I lose, so what? And if I win, so what? I win big, and that's entirely, you know, on Anthony Joshua. I'm waiting until December, then I will pay. Okay, I got it. Okay, so maybe they'll charge more because obviously the UFC Paramount deal is probably going to, you know, create new expenses, and obviously they're going to want to create some kind of revenue out of it. So what Khamzat is training with McGregor about? Khamzat mentioned on his page earlier something to the effect that, hey, you know what? Conor McGregor is one of the best in the world. He's accomplished a lot. I would love to help him return, and that's basically it, right? Now, I'm going to tell you, you know who's going to be very angry at this? Okay, one particular group is going to be very angry at this, the Muslim fan base. And I'm already hearing rumblings behind many of the Muslim fan base saying, well, why is Khamzat doing this? Why did he decide to do that? Reason being, because understand this, right? Khamzat is a little bit different than that of Khabib. And I don't think that's really breaking news, is it? Like, I'm not breaking any news by telling you guys that, right? You guys understand that Khamzat is a much different human being than that of Conor McGregor. How exactly? Drickus or Khamzat? And then he says something in Hebrew. Okay, is that a question or is that a screen name? Very interesting right there. Okay, what do you think of Khamzat being 220 right now? I think he's probably a little bit lower than that right now, right? If he is 220 right now, it's not like he can't get down to 185, but he wouldn't be 220 right now. He would probably be around 200, so getting down to 185 would not be, yeah, it would not be the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? It would not be the worst thing in the world. 15 pounds to lose, some odd, yeah, not really a lot. But okay, let me know what that says in Hebrew. I obviously cannot read Hebrew. But a lot of people in the Muslim world, speaking of which, ironically enough. A lot of people in the Muslim world are going to be very upset at Khamzat Chimaev for this particular choice that he had made. And the reason being is because Conor McGregor is seen as the ultimate enemy of the Islamic faith, at least in the world of MMA. Now, you want to talk about enemies of Islam, there's plenty of them outside of, the real world. I'm not going to mention who or what, when, and how. I think you guys can figure that out. But when it comes to the MMA world, in the fictional world of MMA, I call it fiction, not by the fighting itself, but fiction in terms of the beef and the storylines that go along with it. I think some of that is a little bit fiction, but yes, Conor McGregor is the enemy in the fictional world of MMA, the enemy of Islam. The Punisher says, NGL, the only fighter I don't like is Ank, and his Glazers in the chat, MB Ank. Oh, okay, so Khamzat is all about the money, nothing else. So, Fresh Melon Juice, are you saying that that is the only reason why Khamzat has decided to go train with Conor McGregor is just based on the money, not necessarily because he feels genuinely he wants to help the guy in any kind of way? Is that what you mean? If so, let me know in the comment section below. I would like to hear your take on that particular matter, because that is quite interesting that you said that. So, yeah, I agree with Fresh Melon Juice. Okay, so you agree with Fresh Melon Juice. Please elaborate. Tell me if Khamzat training with Conor McGregor is only predicated on the fact that he wants to, be around money. Armin, Big Ank says Khamzat was training with Armin. There you go. There's another rich guy right there, right? A guy who is rich beyond the fight game. Okay, like there's a lot of guys that make money in the fight game, but Armin has already made money in his generational wealth, right? So Fresh Melon Juice says everything Khamzat is doing is to build his brand and make money. So, okay, the collaboration with Conor McGregor is basically a clout job, is what you're saying. Is that what we're at with this? Let me know on the comment section below if that is the case. So more so, what about Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul? Right now, that right there is the ultimate money grab for both guys. It will prove whether Anthony Joshua is over the hill. And even if he is, I don't know, man. I think everybody is just fixated on the idea that there is no way Anthony Joshua would lose. But you know what? Joshua is a real heavyweight. Jake is barely a heavyweight. Jake could make 175 if you really wanted to. So I don't know, man. The Punisher says, I do feel Khamzat is a bit like a gold digger. Okay, he's not about legacy, even though his record is good. But I agree with Melon Juice. CZ first, Armin, and then Kadyrov, then Conor, apparently. Okay. Big Ank MMA says, I don't know if Khamzat is all about the money. He even said he don't go out often because of his sickness. It's not because of his sickness. He's just having PTSD from the COVID era, to which he does not want to be affected in any kind of negative way. I think that's just what it really, comes down to. Big Ink says Khamzat, you can tell, loves fighting. He stays focused all the time. That is very true. I think it is fair to say that he loves fighting way more than Conor McGregor. And it is, in fact, indicative of the reason why Conor McGregor needs to train with guys like that. Guys like Ilia Topuria, a guy who reminds him of himself, a guy who constantly copies him, but is still hungry in the way that Conor was back in 2014 when you saw him do those training montages in Venice Beach, right? Just beautiful scenes. And you know me, right? Look at this. I represent California to the max. I love Venice Beach, even though I live in Sacramento. I go down to LA a lot. I love it down there. So me seeing him train under those conditions in Venice Beach, I think was beautiful. So, and Khamzat, you can tell he loves fighting and stays focused. The Punisher says, I saw a person saying DDP by sneezing because Khamzat has bad immunity. Oh, yeah, that is a cold comment right there. It is an absolutely cold comment. Yeah, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to tell you about that, right? So Khamzat has PTSD going out because of the COVID sickness. Look, here's the thing, right? If you're going to hang out with Ramzan Kadyrov, I figured why not, right? Because if you're going to hang out with Ramzan Kadyrov, you are living an extremely lonely life. Do you know how many people want to off Ramzan Kadyrov? You're talking about the U.S. government. You're talking about other governments surrounding the region. You're talking about people that are inside Putin's rogue agency that may not necessarily like the fact that Russia is collaborating with Chechens. There's a whole list of people. And then you got the Chechen mafia living in Germany who's going after Khamzat. By the way, I did a video on that a couple of years ago. So I urge you guys to take a look at that. German Chechen gangsters versus Khamzat, something to that effect. You guys should be able to see it. I made, another story in that video regarding WAC 100 because, I do gang content here as well. But check that out, right? So these are the type of enemies that you have when you are dealing with Ramzan Kadyrov. So as such, guess what? You're going to have to live in a very isolated manner. You're going to have to live in a very quarantine type of manner where you're going to be surrounded by security all the time. And he's okay with that because of the PTSD that he got during COVID, which is insane. Everybody says that, COVID is fine for people that are, that are athletes or this and that. Well, unfortunately, it affects everybody a little bit differently. And this was the result of that. So, Oleg, shout out to Oleg. Shout out to you, my man. New person in chat here. Khamzat will make it quick again. I agree with that. The Punisher says also, I personally don't like the fact that Khamzat might train with Conor. It's just not good for his image over because of the whole Middle East will hate him for it if he does that for sure. You know what? So here's the thing, right? Conor McGregor, believe it or not, is a lot more like the Arabs than these Arabs actually being a lot more like the Chechens who live a very conservative Muslim life. You understand what I mean? Like, think about that. The fact that Conor McGregor is flamboyant in his wealth, what Arab is not flamboyant in their wealth, right? Especially if they grew up in the United States, but more so if they grew up in the United States and let's say somebody like Turki al-Sheikh who has lived, the life of the Middle East and has lived in that region for, a certain amount of years and is absolutely accustomed to the way of life there, right? So, yes, people in the Middle East, at least within the Middle Eastern region of the Arab Gulf states, they are a lot more like Conor McGregor than they are a lot more like the Chechens, the Dagestanis, and Khabib. So, let's try and understand that. But that's what I mean. At least on the Muslim side of MMA, there's going to be a lot of Muslim fight fans that are not exactly going to be too happy of the fact that, hey, you know what, Conor McGregor is being trained by Khamzat. I think that he will lose a lot of points on that. One of my Muslim homies, right? I don't know if he wants me to mention his name or whatever, because some of these people that I know outside of YouTube are very private people, but he told me something very interesting. He said something to the effect of, why is it that Khamzat is always training with the Ops? I was like, what do you mean by the Ops? Well, he trains with Armin. Okay, that is the opposition of Islam Makhachev. He trains with Ilya Topora, who is set to fight Islam Makhachev. And he trains also, I believe, with Merab. I believe Merab is also part of that list, right? Which, again, is antiquatedly opposite of Khabib. So, yeah, man, that definitely does go hand in hand when we're talking about people who are, assigned or fight with different people, this, that, and the other, right? So, yeah, it is interesting, right? That he did ask me that. He's like, man, why is Khamzat always training with the Ops? I don't get that. Okay, so I need you guys to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button right now. I'm going to tell you why Khamzat is different from Khabib. There's a cultural and religious, well, not religious, because we're all the same religion when it comes to us being Muslims, right? But there is a particular component about Khamzat Chimaev that makes him a little bit different than that of Khabib. And if you would like to know that, I want you guys to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button right now so we can get this cracking. The Punisher says, I also thought DDP would win, but knowing that Khamzat is under Jackson group now and is training strength and cardio with TJ Dillashaw's trainer makes me think that Khamzat might get the win. This is precisely the reason why he decided to join that camp down in LA. Okay, that is precisely the reason why. That is precisely the motivation of why he has decided to do that, because he knows that, hey, you know what? If I train with these guys that are known to be cardio machines and that have helped TJ become a cardio machine, I too can match that cardio of Dricus du Plessis in this fight. So I think that is ultimately what is going on here. Okay, so now the other component, since somebody did hit the like button as I requested, I'm going to get to the reason why Khamzat is different than that of Khabib, and this is the reason why. Khamzat Chimaev, for all it's worth, grew up in Sweden. Sweden is no different, believe it or not, to California. And no, I'm not talking about the socialist ideals or things of that nature. I am literally talking about the fact that Khamzat Chimaev grew up in a place where there were thugs, gangsters, and everything in between. So because of that, he's going to be a little bit different than that of Khabib in the way that he carries himself. Okay, that is why he's a little bit more wild. He's a little bit more rambunctious. He's a little bit more outspoken, has more of a Conor McGregor gangster flair to him as opposed to, let's say, the Dagestanis. Fresh Melon Juice says EPO is TJ's cardio machine. No comment. The Punisher at Fresh Melon Juice facts. Yeah, I mean, no comment. You know, I've trained with TJ Dillashaw before. I know he's gotten caught, but he's never offered me any roids, or I've never seen him offer any roids, and I stand by that. So, but it is what it is. Outside of that, he got caught, and it's the reality of things. So, you know, what can you do? So what else? Okay, we obviously have JDM versus Islam, right? So we got JDM versus Islam on November, but we also got Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje set to fight in December. So they're 1 month away from each other. That tells me that they're going to try to get these guys to fight either in the springtime or shoot up Islam and Ilia Topuria for the White House. Now, I know they're not American fighters. I know that they want to create all of this American theme or this and that. Forget it. Just have them at the White House. They are the fight that everybody wants. And how better would it be that they are at the White House? Khamzat used to party in Sweden's nightlife. Is that true? Are there any facts to that, Fresh Melon Juice? If so, let me know, man. So, you know, so me and the Muslim police can, you know, lay down the law on Khamzat. The Punisher says, Khamzat was inspired by Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo fight. Okay, so I might see the reason why he wants to train with Conor McGregor. So that's the thing, right? Even if you are a Muslim fighter and you're part of Team Eagle, there's a section of all these other Muslim fighters that have grown up inspired by Conor McGregor's fights. So it's kind of important to, you know, sort of bring that up as well. The Punisher says, give us Islam versus Topuria for the White House card. Exactly. That's where this trajectory is going. Because think about it. You got December with Ilia and Justin Gaethje. He's going to go through Justin Gaethje just fine. And if we believe in Islam to the hype and the matter and the magnitude that he has, he's going to beat JDM. And what does that lead? Well, you know, from the winter time, and then there's the springtime of 2026, and then you just wait him out till summertime and, you know, and fight on that card, right? So, wait, Ilia versus Justin confirmed? Yeah, it's for December. Obviously, that's way far out, so they're not going to necessarily announce it right on the spot like that, right? It's not something they're going to announce straight away because it's so far away. We're in the summertime, and then from the summertime, we're going into the fall time, right? So that would be September. Obviously, that's where the Crawford and Canelo fight are going to be at. UFC Noche is also going to be there. So then you have October. Obviously, there's going to be some big cards in that. The Tom Aspinall fight versus Cyril Gane. And then you have the rematch between Ankalaev and Alex Pereira. So that's what you have going on with this. The Punisher says, I might be fighting my first amateur fight in December. Oh, wow, is that right? Is that right? All right, man, The Punisher. Shout out to you, my man. So, I know they have a very good amateur system in the UAE. You know that the Emiratis are working very hard, diligently to build up not only their own regional pro league, but also their amateur league as well. So, you know, the best of luck to you on that, and I will be looking out for you on that, and let me know when the time comes so I can look up your name, and hopefully if we can find some sort of broadcast to get the fight going, that would be great. So Fresh Melon Juice says, Aspinall declined a fight with Pantoja. He's getting gone. Instead, he's scared. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Fresh, because he's so scared of Conor. I'm sorry, he's so scared of Pantoja. Like, Pantoja is just the scariest thing ever. Oh, my goodness, to humanity. How are we ever going to survive with the fact that Aspinall refused to fight with Pantoja? Man. And I don't know what your problem is with Pantoja. Let's just be really honest. He would get his ass whooped by Tom Aspinall. No doubt about it. He would absolutely get his ass whooped by Tom Aspinall. Like, if we're talking street fight, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he would absolutely maul him to the ground with absolutely no problems, because, you know what? Floyd Mayweather got to find out when he fought Logan Paul that there are weight classes for a good reason. Fresh Melon Juice says, Tom is scared of Shamil. Yes, I can see that. Shamil is a very tricky fight for Tom Aspinall, so I could see that. Shamil is too strong for Tom. Shamil's the GOAT. Even Jones is scared of Shamil. I don't know about that, man. I don't know if any of these guys are scared of each other, but I tell you what, these are all bad matchups for each and every single one of them. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past any of them, you know, that reality. So yeah, man, yeah. I would say so. I would say that is false. I don't think that they are scared of anybody, but Shamil is definitely a bad matchup for each and every single one of them. So yeah, what else can we talk about with Conor McGregor and Khamzat Chimaev? Obviously, it is fight week. I think they have media day today. Is that right? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys have found that there's a media day going on right now. That sounds very unusual, being that it is a Monday. So, yeah. It's a Monday, so I don't know if they would have, you know, that type of thing going on, but I would be curious if you guys find out. I would look through my phone right now, but obviously I can't because, you know, it's, yeah, I'm driving while on my phone, while live streaming on my phone, so it would be hard for me to do that. So, okay, what else? What else do we have going on here? So yeah, man, a lot of people are surprised about, you know, Ilia Topuria taking this fight with Justin Gaethje. Now look, does Justin Gaethje deserve this fight? Let me know, guys. Let me know on the comment section below if you guys think that Justin Gaethje deserves this fight or not. You know, because in all honesty, I don't know, man. I don't know if he, you know, deserves this fight. I don't know if he deserves this fight. I say why not? You know what? He's already beating everybody. Topuria. Toporo. Is that Topuria, or are you trying to say Topuria or Toporo? Or are you trying to emulate the accent of Conor McGregor? Yeah, Fresh Melon Juice, my man. Yeah, Topuria. So what else? What else is going on right now? What do you guys think about the Paramount deal? Do you guys think that this is great? I think it's personally great, to be honest with you, right? The reason why I think it's great is because for a long time there have been many people around the world that have used non-pay-per-view methods of consuming UFC or boxing, right? In particular, the Sky Sports package that they have in the UK and things of that nature. In Italy, I know that you could watch UFC in DAZN, right? As crazy as that sounds. Fresh Melon Juice says, what happened with Netflix? Nothing. You know what? TKO is also the WWE, right? Not just UFC. So they already have a home in Netflix. Maybe they don't want to double dip on that, right? Or maybe they felt like, hey, you know what? Paramount was willing to pay a lucrative deal for them to sign with them rather than with anyone else. That could be, you know, a possibility as well. So, yeah, I don't know, man. You know, I think that's the reason why. But the TKO boxing is completely separate, right? It's a completely different entity, all on its own. So because of that, I think there is a little bit of some differences there, right? Maybe TKO Boxing will sign with ESPN, or maybe TKO Boxing will sign with someone else other than ESPN. Could they get a Netflix deal? Well, they got a Netflix deal with the Terrence Crawford and Canelo fight. Now, a lot of boxing aficionados are really not too fond of the idea that they're not fond of the idea that, how do I say this? That Dana White is promoting this fight. They're not fond of Dana White promoting Canelo versus Crawford. But I tell you what, every time you see Canelo and Crawford on a WWE programming, their trailer for their fight, every time you see the trailer of Canelo and Crawford at a UFC fight, and then on top of that, you see them in places like the UFC's YouTube page getting millions of views for their face-offs. Now you'll start to understand why Dana White was made the promoter of this, because what comes with Dana White comes with the UFC and also their partnership with the WWE and things of that nature, right? So for all those boxing guys that don't like that Dana White is promoting this fight, I don't know what to tell you. Get over it. Marty Miller says it will be interesting to see how well this fight does. Which one are you talking about, Marty Miller? Are you talking about the Crawford versus Canelo fight? A lot of people were saying that they would have rather seen Canelo fight David Benavidez, right? They said that would have been a bigger money fight. I don't know about that, man. I think Terrence Crawford is highly underrated. I know that when Terrence Crawford, okay, so you're talking about Canelo and Crawford. When Terrence Crawford was being asked about the resume that he has and this, that, and the other, I think he is entirely and brutally underrated. Absolutely brutally underrated. And so I think people underestimate what it is that he can do in this. So they're going to be very surprised. I think they will be very surprised of how this fight is going to go between Canelo versus Crawford. Look, I make no bones about it, right? I honestly think Crawford is going to win this fight very easily. Very easily. I just think that he hasn't faced anyone at this level right now, and I think Canelo is picking Crawford based on the fact that he thinks there's a size advantage that, quite frankly, I don't think really exists here, right? The size advantage doesn't exist in the way that you think that it does. So, yeah, you know, a little caution on that one right there. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, man, exciting, man. Exciting time to be a combat sports fan. What do you think? Do you think this is the most exciting time to be a combat sports fan, or was it more exciting during 2016? Let me know in the comment section below if you guys can, right? Because I think that this era is way more exciting than the previous era. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think it's a lot more exciting, back then. I mean, right now, it's more exciting than it was back then because you didn't have all these boxing and MMA cross promotions that you do now. And then on top of that, you're also seeing the rise of MMA fighters going into boxing. And I need you guys to hit the like button right now. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to tell you why a lot of MMA fighters are going into boxing. And it has nothing to do with the money. It does, but it doesn't. I think the fighters are GAY now. Okay, well, care to elaborate on that? Why do you say that? Do you say that because many of them are a little bit more feminine? Maybe you got a guy like Peyton Talbot who doesn't really fit that mold of what we think of a UFC fighter is, as opposed to, let's say, somebody like Sean Strickland or somebody like Khamzat, or the Muslim guys, or this, that, and the other. Let me know. Let me know what you think about that, and why you said such a horrendous thing about the modern fighters of today. And you know what? There's a part of me that doesn't disagree with you. I got into it with a glory kickboxer by the name of Charles Rodriguez, right? Me and him got into it for the simple fact that he doesn't like the fact that I hyper-emphasize hyper masculinity, right? Charles Rodriguez, go figure, he's a Bay Area guy, lives in San Francisco, right? He's pro, what? He's that guy. He appeases to them. So it is no wonder. And then on top of that, he does all these weird little dresses that he does, like he'll, purposely feminize himself just to make it seem like he's not a trained killer, which is weird to me, right? Like, if you're a trained killer, why not embrace it? And, Marty Miller says strict probably GAY and overcompensating. Hey, you know what? I gotta agree with you. I think Sean Strickland does have, a sense of overcompensation. Or is it that Sean Strickland is really messed up in the head because of all the trauma that he's been through, that now he has to put on not necessarily a facade, but a defensive mechanism for his personality? Think about that, right? Fresh says, I received a few shorts on Chael. It was way better than before. I received a few shorts on Chael. It was way better before. Oh, okay, you're talking about how the fight game was a lot better back then. Is that what you mean, Fresh Melon Juice? Let me know, and also elaborate what Chael was saying, how it was better back then and why. On YouTube. Okay, on YouTube. Got it. So is that what you're referring to? You're referring to the fact that he was saying that there were better fights back then as opposed to now? Let me know. But yeah, man, exciting times. I think it's the most exciting times for fighting, because more so with boxing than MMA. Look, I think MMA is always going to be MMA, meaning that we're always going to have the toughest competitions. We're always going to have a lot of 50-50 matchups, and we're going to get them bright and early because, let's just be honest, the UFC's pay structure doesn't allow these guys to move any further up into their careers fast enough for them to make any serious negotiations ploy against the company. He says the fighters were men and could speak like men. Don Fry, for the old school guys out there, right? I think Don Fry sort of fits this category as well, right? If you guys remember Don Fry, who here remembers Don Fry? UFC's GAY structure. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? GAY structure. Are you saying that they have a structure right now that encourages them to be that way? Look, here's the thing about the UFC that I think is really interesting. I need you guys to hit the like button right now. I'm going to tell you something very interesting about the UFC in terms of the controversy that they are delving themselves into in terms of right-wing politics. All right, I'm going to need you guys to hit that like button real quick. Hold on just a second while I strap on my seatbelt for this one, okay? Okay, so right now, the UFC, didn't you say that? No, I did not say that, my man. I'm simply just answering your questions regarding, GAY stuff when it comes to UFC fighters. But yeah, okay. So the controversy with the UFC right now, right? They are unapologetically right-wing. And Luke Thomas, who, by the way, is a very intelligent journalist, somebody who I look up to on the journalist side of things, okay? The one thing that I do look up to him about is that he's very articulate, this, that, and the other, but he's also a diehard DC liberal. By the way, speaking of DC liberals, what do you guys think about the liberal DC city being raided by the National Guard and federal agents because they believe that police corruption has been running rampant in, in that city? But yeah, that's a story for another time. Or maybe we can talk about it briefly, but who knows? But okay, the type of content that the UFC wants to put out, they want to be unapologetically right-wing, okay? And here's the thing. They know that a right-wing fan base will always stand with the UFC. They will be more loyal to the UFC. Look, liberal consumers are not loyal. Would you guys agree with that? Shout out to all my liberals. I got nothing against y'all. I got love for everybody of all types of, political leanings, religious beliefs, and things of that nature. But let's just be real, right? When it comes to the left, they will be quick to cancel you and show disloyalty towards you in comparison to, let's say, right-wing fans. I think right-wing fans have a genuine understanding of loyalty, and not only they have a strong understanding of loyalty, they also have an understanding of content that is a little bit, how do I say this, uncensored, right? Like, they love things that are uncensored. They love things that are not necessarily, making you go out there and cancel one person to another, or you know what I mean, right? I think the left-wing fans are a little bit more disloyal, and therefore that is a reason why the UFC has made a pivot to the political leanings that they have right now. That's what I think is going on right now, right? So I think there's a lot of that. Speaking of which, let's get to this topic, right? Obviously, wasn't something that I mentioned on the description down below, but we'll talk about it, okay? The DC raid of federal agents and the National Guard, because DC's city is running rampant with corruption. Now, you know what this reminds me of? I gotta tell you what this DC raid reminds me of, right? It reminds me of when Compton Police Department was shut down. So if you go to Compton right now, you would notice there is no Compton Police Department. The reason why is because they shut that down and turned it into a sheriff's department. And I need you guys to understand, obviously, if you don't understand American law enforcement, there's a difference between police, regular city police, and police that consist of the sheriff's office, right? They usually deal with a county-wide jurisdiction. So during the time of Suge Knight and Death Row Records, he owned that whole entire police station. At 26 years old, this man owned an entire police station on top of being a record executive during the 90s. I want you to put that in perspective about Suge Knight, okay? He got caught. Eventually, people started to catch on to what he had going on. Federal agents came in there and they took out Compton Police Department, took it apart. I mean, the literal definition of defunding the police, and then they went and brought in the county sheriff of Los Angeles to be the head jurisdiction of Compton. Okay, so think about that. I want you guys to think about that for a second, right? That is what is going on in Washington, D.C. right now. There is, a huge, corruption scandal that has been brewing in that city for a long time. And as such, they decided that they were going to do something about it. They decided, hey, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go and we're going to clean house. And I think that's what Donald Trump is doing. You know what? Trump has said for years that, you know what? I'm going in here and I'm going to clean house. I'm going to clean this country of corruption from left, right, down, and center. He said that he was going to do that. He's doing exactly just that. So I can't really blame the man for that. I can't really blame him for taking the actions that he did. But at the same time, I tell you what, a lot of people are pissed at Trump right now because a lot of people are losing their jobs from the Doge raid that he had going on where they were cleaning house. Look, I've always said this, right? I always thought that many people who, let's say, work in government usually have this arrogant attitude to where they will never get fired, right? As opposed to, let's say, people that work in sales or people that work in corporate jobs. And even as long of your tenure as in these companies, the one thing that you can rest assured is that there's going to come a time where you are going to be fired, where you are going to be let go, and your job is not as secure as those other jobs out there, like the medical field, or sometimes maybe even being a lawyer, depending on how good of a lawyer you are. Or let's say if you are, I don't know, let's say you're a government worker, right? You are secure of your job the whole entire time. Like, nobody can take your job from you. Well, now, in the Trump era, that has changed, right? Also, that same arrogance that I mentioned about government workers who felt like they are untouchable or bulletproof, that also extends to police officers, right? Many police officers really believe that they have full immunity on what they got going on and nobody can really touch them. They are untouchable. And we're finding out that's not the case. That's not the case, right? Many examples of that. Obviously, Derek Chauvin, which is controversial in and of itself. You know, that's the guy that supposedly took out George Floyd. So Marty Miller says, hopefully this Paramount deal makes things better because I keep losing interest in the UFC. Is that right? Man, that's interesting that you're saying you're losing interest of the UFC. Now, you know what? That is interesting for you to say, right? Because, I mean, I would kind of consider you a bit of a hardcore, right? Is that fair to say, Marty Miller? Would you say that you're a hardcore, or maybe you were a hardcore and you lost interest over the years? Let me know about that. I only care about certain fights now. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you kind of get to that point right there. Okay, so 2017, 2016, 17, and 18, right? I was very much interested in boxing, right? Obviously, MMA was first, but boxing, if there was, good boxing fights, I would be there. And then I got to the point where I became a hardcore boxing fan as well as an MMA fan, where I literally watched everything, right? Now, I'm sort of like that with boxing. Like, obviously, you see me, I cover boxing, I talk about boxing, but it is only with certain fights, like this one right here in the title of this live stream where I talk about AJ versus Jake Paul. Now, obviously, that's an important fight, but that is a high marquee fight that everybody wants to see. And as a result of that, well, this is why we are where we're at right now. So, guys, we're going to head right into the bonus round. Obviously, the bonus round of today is not necessarily going to be a monologue, but it's just more of a little bit of a sightseeing, because I love featuring my city to everybody around the world. I don't think Sacramento gets the love that it deserves, the way that LA does, the way that San Francisco does, or the way that other major the way that other major California cities do. Right now, obviously, Sacramento is a major city of California. It is the capital of California, but unfortunately, it doesn't get the love that it gets. Marty Miller says, I've been watching UFC religiously since 2004-ish. Okay, so, yeah, you were probably around, in your teens when you were watching it religiously. Okay, Fresh Melon Juice says, what does hardcore mean? like MAGA, you're not allowed to speak against the Trump administration. What do you mean by that? Elaborate what you mean by that question, Fresh Melon Juice says, is Sacramento an Italian word? No, it is not. Sacramento is actually, a Spanish word, because California at one point was a Spanish territory, and as such, well, that is the reason why, yeah, you have all these different Spanish names. Los Angeles, you know, translated as the English. Sacramento, Sacra, right? So sacrament, that's sort of like a religious term that deals with forgiveness, or I don't know. Let me know what you guys, for the Catholics out there, I know there's a Catholic component of it. Let me know what sacrament means, and that's literally the name where Sacramento was derived from. French? No, it's not French. It's Italian. Sacra Blue? I don't understand what that means, but yeah. So yeah, man. By the way, on my members section only here, I'm gonna talk to you guys while I give you guys a little bit of a view of where I'm at, right? On my members section, I have a video that I made, right? Because I've been shooting a lot of members only content now. I urge you guys to take a look at that. And Marty Miller, you might like this one right here. So, be sure to check out my members only. It is where I talk about how we had UFC parties back in the days, right? We're talking about the mid-2000s, 2006, 2007, 2011, 2012. Those were some really big peak UFC parties that we had back in the days. And the question is, why don't we have these UFC parties anymore? Or if you guys are still having UFC parties, let me know how that's going. But I feel like it's sort of dying down with friends getting together, pitching in, a few dollars, $5 from this guy, $10 from this guy here and there, and then we're gonna get together and have a UFC fight, right? So, are you the highway strangler? I don't know what that means, Fresh. Marty says, because there are too many fights now. Oh, okay, it used to be a special occasion. You know what? I elaborate on that some more on my members only stream, Marty. So if you want to check that out, I do talk about that. And, who knows, maybe you might find some nostalgic memories out of that. So, all right, so now we are heading right into downtown Sacramento as we close out the final few minutes of this live stream right here. That is the Cal Stars building right there. I don't know exactly what that is for. I think it's some sort of government building. But yeah, here we are. We are in the old bridge of Sacramento. I've given you guys a ride here towards, the Golden Bridge, which, by the way, is right across right here. If you see, that's where the bridge is at right there. You see? Right there, the bridge. As we are on this bridge, that's the other side of the bridge that we're going to see in just a few minutes. So stay tuned, all right? So, all right, let's see here. Yeah, so he said that it used to be, yeah, man. Marty Miller, speaking of what you said, it used to be a special occasion back in the days, right? Like, remember when Jake Shields and George St. Pierre were going to fight? I mean, look, prior to that fight, they had a UFC event that was probably like a few weeks prior to or before that, right? So it's a little bit different now than it was back then. Now it's a little bit way too saturated. Hey, bridge on more time, I dare you. I don't understand what that means. What do you mean, like stay on the bridge some more? I mean, yeah, we're going to go on the other bridge as well. See, right there. The bridge, see? The Golden Bridge of Sacramento. And also traffic that comes with the territory of living in Sacramento and living in these parts right here is that you will face, a scrutiny of traffic. So, yeah. Drink every time we say bridge. What do you mean, drink water? Sure, why not? All right. I was going to drink water anyway, not because you said so, but all right. All right, so in any regard, here we are. Sacramento waterfront. There it is, right there. And right there is where the Kings play, right here. You said it looks like Cuba? How so, man? Let me know how it looks like Cuba. Have you ever been to Cuba? That right there is the city jail. Yeah, that's the city jail right there. Gray and boring. Yes, I have. Okay, of course, because you've claimed to have been in the CIA, so okay, that makes sense. What did my man here say? In Cuba, there are tons of cars from the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You know, the only old school cars that you see here are lowriders, and you know, I've showed you guys, you know, that part of Sacramento when they had lowrider shows here. They always have lowrider shows here in Old Sac. So here's the Railroad Museum of Sacramento right here. And obviously here it is, you know, the old Wild West looking town of Sacramento. I mean, like, we're talking like 1800s, right? You know, buildings that were from the 1800s that they still maintained here. So yeah, he's world traveled. Yeah, you would have to be if you're in the CIA, right? So, you know, so that's for certain. Yeah, and then there's the waterfront right there, which I've showed you guys before. So, yeah. All right, couple more minutes into the stream, and then we'll call it quits for the day. See, even with an old town like this, look, you got, you know, a law firm that's based out of here, right there, the Ashley Law Firm, right there. All right. Yeah, isn't that where the car show was? Yes, yes, that's precisely where the car show was at, Marty Miller. Correct, correct. And then I'm going to show you guys the Capitol, and then I'm going to show you guys a bridge, and then we'll call it a day from there. So, yeah, this is the Embassy Suites right there. Yes, that is where the car show was. That is where they always have the car shows around here. So, yeah. There it is. That's the capital right there, guys. Very similar build to that of Capitol Hill. Obviously, all capitals around the United States look exactly like that. So, but yeah, man, the Paramount deal, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm very happy about it. Obviously, it's going to be a new era, the non-pay-per-view era, but in reality, for all of those that are on the Russian links and piracy websites, it almost doesn't matter at this point. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, really. But by the end of the day, for those that are actually consuming it the right way, I tell you what, this is great for you. Because there are people out there who actually do buy literally every single pay-per-view there is, right? I think you would have to be an MMA streamer to afford something like that, because then you would get some sort of tax write-offs doing that. So, all right, here's the bridge of Sacramento right here that we're going to pass. And then we're going to go right into the Oakland A's stadium coming up right here. So, Kyrie is a heavy drinker. I am not. Kupi Luwak coffee. Kupi Luwak coffee. What happened to the fighters' pay in the pay-per-view? He asks. Well, I tell you what. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it stays the same, right? It doesn't improve. It stays where it's at. And as the pay stays where it's at, the UFC now has an even bigger justification to keep it. And their justification is predicated on the fact that, hey, you know what? We can set more eyeballs your way. You see what I'm saying? The fact that we can set more eyeballs your way justifies what we pay you. So that's it right there. The Oakland A's place of where they play at. And with that in mind, guys, listen, I want to thank everybody for tapping in. That has been my 1 hour so far. We had a lot of good questions, a lot of good conversations regarding UFC, its Paramount deal, which I've talked about a few times, one on video, one on a live stream, on a previous live stream. We talked about Khamzat possibly training with Conor McGregor. Now, is this good for Conor McGregor? I would say yes, it's very good for Conor McGregor. You want to know why? Think of it like this, right? Conor McGregor needs that hunger back. He needs to be in there with guys that are hungry. Who better than Khamzat Chimaev to get him in there? There was a point where Khabib and Conor were supposed to train with each other. Happened due to the fact that they ended up having beef with each other, right? So as a result of that, guess what? Khamzat could potentially fill that role of this Dagestani-like wrestler that Conor McGregor has needed all along. And even Artem Lobov had mentioned in the Conor McGregor interview, right, that he did about Conor McGregor in the Ariel Helwani interview. He said that Conor McGregor needs to get in there and do jiu-jitsu because it's good for him. It's good for him to do all these jiu-jitsu rounds. It will get his body ready, and why not do some wrestling rounds with Khamzat as a result of that? Freshman juice. So will the UFC make double and cut the pay? I think that they will make double, but they will keep the pay, right? And the pay should be increased, but it doesn't, and they're going to justify the pay as a result of that. So with that in mind, guys, that is all that I have for you on this one. I'm going to land this one right here. I'm going to land this plane home. I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check out all of my latest videos that I have right now. Trying to stay consistent as much as I can. I have days and weeks where I stay consistent. Sometimes I don't. It just depends on the type of stories that are out there in MMA and then the type of, the type of excitement or lack of excitement that is happening in MMA. JK Saucy One says, first time here, doo-doo takes, and for that, doo-doo takes, and for that, I'm out. Okay, well, that's on you. So, but shout out to JK on any regards. Shout out to you. We will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, inshallah.